The night was already louder and more chaotic than I expected the moment we walked into her friend Melissa's house. It wasn't a small gathering like she promised. It was a full-blown party, with drinks spilling, music shaking the walls, and people shouting over one another. My wife, Jenna, lit up instantly, almost glowing under the neon lights, like she had stepped onto a stage. She grabbed my hand at first, but the second she spotted her coworkers, she dropped it like it meant nothing and ran straight toward them. I stood there watching her dance wildly, knocking back drinks like college kids on spring break. I tried to join the circle at one point, smiling politely, trying to fit in, but Jenna looked at me, rolled her eyes, and shouted over the music, "Babe, relax, you're ruining the fun." The people around her laughed at me, and in that moment, something inside me cracked. Her voice echoed in my head long after the laughter faded. I stepped out to the backyard, pretending I needed fresh air. But really, I just needed space from the humiliation burning deep inside me. How many times had I stood by her side, supporting her, protecting her, loving her through every mistake? And yet, she treated me like an annoyance, something to mock for cheap laughs. I stared up at the sky, wondering when she stopped seeing me as her husband and started seeing me as a prop for entertainment. The music thumped through the walls, the bass shaking the ground, and my chest tightened with disappointment. I didn't yell, I didn't confront her. I just realized something painfully simple. I didn't belong there anymore. I walked back inside only to see her sitting on the kitchen counter, laughing with two guys from her office. One of them had his arm slightly behind her back. She didn't push him away. She didn't even look uncomfortable. She was too busy performing, being the loud, wild version of herself she had become lately. I stood there for a few seconds, unnoticed, and that was all I needed. I grabbed my coat from the couch, slipped my keys from my pocket, and walked straight out the front door. No drama, no scene, just quiet. And the moment the cold night air hit my face, I felt something I hadn't felt all evening: relief. The drive home was strangely peaceful. I didn't blast music or think about the party. Instead, I thought about how long I had ignored the warning signs. Jenna had changed her priorities, her circle, her attitude, her words. And I had kept hoping she would eventually return to the version of herself that loved staying home, watching movies under a blanket, and talking about dreams and futures. I wasn't leaving her forever. Not yet. But I needed to step back and give myself room to breathe. When I got home, I showered, ate something simple, and sat on the couch in silence. My phone buzzed once. I ignored it. Then again, and again. By 1:45 a.m., I checked my phone. Jenna had texted, "Where are you?" Then, "Seriously? Are you kidding me right now?" Followed by, "Don't be dramatic. Come back." I turned my phone face down. At 2:10 a.m., she called. Then again, then 5 more times. I didn't answer. At 2:40 a.m., she texted, "Fine, I'll get a ride." No apology, no reflection, just anger that I wasn't there to fix things. I powered off my phone and went to sleep. For the first time in months, I fell asleep without a knot in my chest. When I woke up at 7 a.m., sunlight filled the living room, but so did the vibration of my phone. I turned it over and froze. 47 missed calls and a flood of panicked messages. "Please answer. Where are you?" "I'm outside. Please open the door." My heart thumped once, heavy and slow. I stood up, walked to the window, and looked out. There she was, sitting on the front steps in the same wrinkled dress from last night. Mascara smeared down her face, hair tangled by the wind. She looked nothing like the woman who mocked me hours earlier. She looked small, scared, and suddenly very sober. I opened the door but didn't step aside. She stood up quickly, almost tripping. "Why didn't you answer me?" she asked, her voice shaky but defensive. I looked at her. Because you didn't answer me last night, I said quietly. She swallowed hard. I. I didn't mean it. I was drunk. Drunk minds speak sober thoughts, I replied. That hit her harder than anything else I could have said. She reached for my arm, but I gently stepped back. Not angrily, just honestly. For the first time, she realized I meant every word. For the first time, she understood I could truly walk away. Inside, she broke down fast. I know I messed up, she cried. I was showing off. I wanted to fit in. I wasn't thinking about how you felt. She wiped her face with her sleeve. But when I looked around last night after you left, nobody cared about me. Not one person asked where I went. They just kept partying. She sniffed. The only person who ever shows up for me is you, and I treated you like garbage. She buried her face in her hands. It wasn't an excuse. It was the truth, and she finally saw it. We talked for a long time, really talked for the first time in months. She admitted she had been chasing validation from people who didn't matter, losing herself in a lifestyle that didn't fit our marriage. She apologized, not with excuses or tears meant to manipulate, but with real accountability. I didn't forgive her fully that morning, but I didn't end things either. I made it clear that things had to change. Not for a week, not as a phase of apology, but permanently. And for the first time, she didn't fight it. She didn't argue. She just nodded, eyes red but sincere. Weeks later, we stood in the same living room where she once mocked me. This time, she held my hand and whispered, I realize now I didn't lose you that night. I lost the version of you who tolerated disrespect. I looked at her, seeing not the wild party girl from that night, but the woman who finally understood what our marriage needed: respect, partnership, and loyalty. I'm not here for fun, I said softly. I'm here for us. She nodded with tears in her eyes. I know, and I almost threw that away. She laughed that night, thinking I'd never leave, but when I walked out, she learned the truth. The fastest way to lose someone is to treat them like they'll never walk away.